I've been learning about this experience from my parents for about maybe a year, and at first I was very resistant because of my faith and everything. But as more I first went to Boulder, Colorado, and it just went over my head. And of recently, I've gotten into learning about co-creating, and it's happening. And once I allowed that to happen and listened, it's been amazing. I come from a country that has so much, Uganda, that has so much wealth and potential, but also so much suffering. And
so much
suffering.
Variety.
Yeah, but I love the way you're calling it. And my past has involved, I guess, that variety that you say. The loss of my family, biologically, I'm a survivor of 7, but the universe blessed me with my parents that I have here. So because of that, and the universe has blessed me with so much, I'm always wanting to bring that, I'm trying to find the right words, but I would say that change, that filling the gap.
We want to say something, and then we'll hear more from you if you have more, and we know you do. But we just want to accentuate something with you, because as you feel blessed and are, and you acknowledge that and feel satisfaction in your blessing, feel satisfaction from having been blessed, for being continually blessed, then you become a perpetuator of that. Focusing on the suffering that you are wanting to overcome is different. Focusing upon the blessing, because you can't get sick enough to help sick people get well, and you can't be poor enough to help poor people become prosperous. It's emphasis on what you are acknowledging as the way you are blessed that perpetuates that blessing. Because there's a tendency to come from a place where you see suffering and then feel unique and maybe unworthy about you being extracted from it and having all of these blessings. And when you feel that way, you are not a perpetuator of more blessings. You have to embrace your blessings, acknowledge, because everyone has access to them. And as you stand in the clarity of the example of that, you are a perpetuator of that. You are an influencer of that. Yes?
Yes, yes. So are you saying that I should continually enjoy this?
Oh, yes.
And then it will bring more joy to my country, yes, and everything I want, yes, to achieve, and everything I want.
Yes.
This is awesome.
When we began, we told you the story of Esther on the airplane in satisfaction, in first class, feeling really content, satisfied, and then thinking, how could this be better? Oh, my blanket. And then the flight attendant bringing her a bottle of hot water, not because she was cold, but because he wanted in on the enhancement of her blessings. Her blessings were already evident. Now that's a really scanty, oh, Abraham, how can you compare a woman in first class experiencing her blessings to someone who has escaped some terrible suffering? And we say, because expansion is expansion, and blessings are blessings, and satisfaction is satisfaction, and the laws are all the same. So this is the big question. This is the big question, and therefore the big answer. Thank you so much. So when you sort of want something, when there's something sort of wrong, you sort of want it to be a little better. When something's really wrong, you really want it to be better, because it's an equivalent. Your desires are equivalent to where you are. It's equal and opposite ends of the same stick. You sort of understand that? Mm-hmm. So when there has been great suffering or awareness of suffering, there is a producing of a great desire. And with a little bit of allowing, there is a great realization of great blessings. So we want you to realize that you're in such a good place of attraction because of all that you've lived, and so are your fellow countrymen who still are or have been suffering. And so there's a lot of source energy focused there. When large segments of the population ask in strong ways, there is strong answering from source. But as we have already agreed today, as we've been chewing, strong asking does not necessarily mean receiving, because often those that are asking with the greatest strength are in the place of receiving in the most unlikely way, because they're all balled up in their suffering. That's why one who has been there, who no longer suffers, is the leading light out, you see. But if you return to the suffering, you don't help at all.
Thank you. So I just wanted to share that it's just been incredible the last, I just say 6 to 10 months. I mean, I went from like struggling financially for my organization to being blessed with being called to meet, speak at the Presidential Center at George W. Bush Center. I just spoke at that event. The president walked behind and he says, I want to give you a letter to take to your president in your country and support the work you're doing. And then from there, I sat 3 rows from Mr. Jeff Bezos, and I was learning so much that I went back to a kid growing up with no shoes. I'm sitting in front of Jeff Bezos, and he talked about his own story of how he grew up in Albuquerque, you know, with his grandfather, and it connected so well. And he said, the passions that we have, we don't have choice, and it aligned with what you're saying. We just have to allow them and experience
Life
them.
is living through you. Your circumstances created a desire that you cannot deny. Your circumstances gave birth to your desire, and now that is you. And now the entire universe and the powerful law of attraction and all that is responding to the desire part of you. You just want to make sure you're lined up with that, which you are. And the reason that we spoke to you as we did is because when you join others who are in this movement of improvement,
That's what we call our work.
many of
Movement. Go ahead.
many of them unknowingly want to focus upon the struggle that you're overcoming, which is less productive than the solution that you're appointed to. There can be a little justification for what we're doing by pointing out what we're overcoming. But don't get too heavy on what you're overcoming. Focus on your blessings.
Amen.
Yeah.